He has not yet become that heir, but as you have said, if he was well tonight, he would be in the net. But Melnikov has played both games so far for the Soviets. He has played fine, but he is a vulnerable goaltender, and he is somebody that we should be watching very carefully through the course of this game.
Referee tonight is from Finland, Antti Koskinen, and the linesmen are from Finland, Lasse Vanhanen, and Sweden, Anders Ekhagen. The United States and the Soviet Union, and so many people only remember Eruzioni's goal in the end of the game at Lейк-Плэсиде. Just to refresh you, it was 2-2 after the first period. Mark Johnson tied it with a second to play in the period. Soviets dominated the second period but scored just once. It was 3-2 going into the third. So 8 years later, the U.S. and the Soviet Union in the Olympics one more time. Corey Millen centering this line as we get set for action at the Saddle Dome. And Brian Leach moves it up ahead to Tony Granato, and the first shot on goal is an easy save for Milenkov. And the Soviets clear it the length of the ice. The icing is waved off as Brian Leach, number 2, the team captain for the United States. From Connecticut, out of Boston College, up ahead to the fleet Tony Granato. And the Soviets move it back to center ice, where it's collected by Guy Gosselin, and then he loses the puck, and Makarov skates in. Makarov loses the puck in the slot, and the U.S. clears the zone as Corey Millen comes skating back along with Alan Bourbeau. Millen's shot is kicked off to the right. Back to the point to Norton now, and the puck comes back across the blue line. There's a case of all of the Americans being into the offensive zone, the puck coming back over the blue line, offside.
Well, now, just before that offside,
we're back with 18:52 to play in the first period. No score. The U.S. and the Soviet Union at the Saddle Dome. As Snuggerud's shot is a stick save by Milnikov. The U.S. pressuring in the corner. Donatelli is there, and the puck comes loose as Snuggerud then centers it. Norton couldn't get his stick down, though. He was taken out of the play, and back to get it for the U.S. is Brown. Up ahead to Lane McDonald. In off the boards to Fusco. Fusco centering it, and a shot from the slot by McDonald. A save by Milnikov. Back out to center ice now.
At this stage in the game, teams are looking for little indicators with each other. The Soviet goaltender Melnikov has looked a little bit uncertain, and the Soviet players don't have an awful lot of confidence in him.
This is Terreri clearing it along the boards, up ahead to Lane McDonald. He's forechecked, but is able to get it out into the neutral zone. This is Peter Laviolette losing the puck at the Soviet blue line. Igor Stelnov, the defenseman number 4, to Blikov. Into the corner now for Mutov. Skating around the net, looking for a centering pass. Blikov picks the puck up. He's checked by Young, and the puck taken away nicely by Fusco, who clears it out to center ice. 2.5 minutes into the first period with no score. Picked up by Todd Okerlund, number 11, who's making his first appearance in the Olympics. He didn't dress for the first 2 games. As the Soviets regain possession, Homutov shooting it up ahead into the U.S. zone where Leach goes back to collect it.
Early on, the U.S. team is showing a much more sustainable kind of game.
This is Janney, backhander save, rebound shot wide.
They're taking the opportunity when they have it, but they're not pressing when they have very little chance.
U.S. with 3 shots on goal, the Soviets with none so far. 3 minutes, 10 seconds into the game, and up ahead to Chernik, who gets ridden out of the play.
Well, we'll be seeing more and more of that during the game. The Soviets are the opportunists. They'll float somebody up center, trying to get that quick breakaway pass.
The Tisov leaves it for Brian Leach. By Gosselin, but Miller is there, up ahead to Janney. Janney leads Bourbeau too far. Lariano puts it back into the neutral zone where Gusarov picks it up. His slap shot is wide. So the Soviets still without a shot on goal in the first 4 minutes of the game. Jeff Norton to Alan Bourbeau. Bourbeau off Millen's skate. Millen trying to pick up the loose puck, backhands it, it's wide. Gusarov gets it up ahead to Krutov. Krutov, Larionov, and Makarov, the number 1 Soviet line out there at the moment. the famed ALM line. Krutov is 9, Larionov is 11, Makarov is 24. So here comes Krutov. Skating in, picked up by Don Kelly and Brown. His shot, and Terreri got a piece of it for the save. Now they lose it in front. And through the slot, it's Granado picking it up for the United States as the Soviets for the first time put pressure on Terreri. Their first shot on goal. Zuckerud centering it, but Donatelli was ridden out of the play nicely by Stelnov. Up ahead to Krutov. He has his poke checked away, and he's offside as Larionov skates in over the blue line. 15-15 to play in the first period. No score in Calgary. Minutes gone in the first period. The U.S. has just been whistled for an offside. Exactly 15 minutes to play in the period. No score. Would be offside. Ken, your thoughts through the first 5 minutes of the game?
The U.S. team is playing, again, a much more sustainable game than they were the other night. They can continue to play this game pretty much the rest of the way. They're showing, again, moving up in the timely moments, but they're defending much more strongly.
Mike Eruzione, what was the mood at practice yesterday, and as you saw the team arrive at the arena tonight?
Al, sorry, I didn't catch that.
The mood of this team at practice yesterday and as they arrived at the arena tonight.
Very relaxed. As a matter of fact, yesterday was team picture day, and the usual things that go on when a team is taking their picture. You know, guys putting little horns behind anybody's head, and they had a fun practice. Dave Peterson did not step out on the ice with the team yesterday. He watched from the bench, and the last drill they did, it took Coach Smith 10 minutes to set the drill up, and when it was all set up, he got off the ice and left the kids just standing there, and it was just a big joke.
Soviets in control. Homutov, number 15. Into Kamensky. He's checked by Jenny. And able to pry it loose. Laviolette now involved. Back of the net along with Jenny. Loose puck, and the shot wide off the stick of Wikov. Kept in for the moment by Kasatonov, number 7 at the point. In behind the net, Homutov centers it, the shot wide by Wikov. He's had 2 good opportunities and has missed on both. Stick save by Terreri, and Janney takes the pressure off.
Well, there have been open men in the U.S. zone there, and the Soviets are not going to miss an awful lot of those. Shots that look the same if they are on Austrian sticks or on Norwegian sticks, they're going to miss the net. But somehow a shot that looks the same that's coming off a Soviet stick is going to end up in the net.
And that last call was for icing, as we said, from your own half of the rink across the opposition's goal line. There's the missed opportunity by Wikov. So the U.S. able to take the pressure off, but because of the infraction, the face-off comes back into the United States end. The raw explanation of the icing infraction. Back out to center ice now, Gusarov for the Soviets. Lomakin, number 23, back to Alexei Gusarov. Soviet defenseman. And in ahead on the right wing. Skating through is Lomakin behind the net. Looking for a centering pass. Still in control. Now he leaves it for Kozevnikov, and he gets taken down, and the puck comes back the other way. It's Brown trying to get it up ahead to Bourbeau, and Granado picks up the puck, but the U.S. is offside. As Viktor Tikhonov, the Soviet coach, looks on. 13:20 to play in the first period with no score. Back after this from your local station. First period with no score, and again an offside here. The U.S. has had 3 shots on goal, and the Soviets 2.
What the U.S. team also has to demonstrate tonight is that its full roster can play at this high a level. In the first 2 games, I think what has been demonstrated is the top line of Granado and Millen and Bourbeau can. The question is whether the other lines can play up to the pace of the game. And they've had some difficulties in those other nights, and they're going to need all the help that they can get tonight.
Young shot, glove save by Milnikov. Right now the U.S. with Young and Leach, the defense pairing, and now the Steve Leach, Lane McDonald, Scott Fusco line comes out.
Well, a fairly long shot and a kind of an easy save for the goaltender Milnikov. Looking at the Soviet team, there are certain key players that they have, Right now they've got their veteran line on. Larionov, Makarov, and Krutov, they've been together for several years. They've also got their veteran defense pair. They are not only their strength, but in the last year or so they have been their weakness.
Steve Leach's shot is wide. He follows up into the corner. And the Soviets clear it, and up ahead on the breakaway. Makarov, he skates in, he shoots, he scores. The #1 Soviet line, and they've been together for years. Two of them played all the way back in the '80 Olympics. Sergei Makarov scores to make it 1-0 and pays the price as well.
Well, it's the kind of opportunistic style we were talking about. Fetisov catching Makarov, crossing at center. He's been the top scorer in the Soviet League for several years. Here you can see him again making a nice move to his forehand, forcing Chris Terreri to the ice.
12:37 remaining in the first period. The Soviets lead 1-0. In commercial, Brian Leach whistled off for a tripping penalty, and 1:42 remaining in that penalty. So the Soviets with a power play. They have a man advantage here for the next 1:37 as they skate in over the blue line.
This is a big moment for the U.S. team. Now early in the game, down 1 goal. The Soviets have a chance to make it 2. The U.S. team needs to keep it to 1.
Biakin faking the slap shot into the corner now. Wikov checked into the boards by Gosselin. Puck comes off to Granato, and Tony comes back the other way for the U.S. Up ahead for Millen, and into the Soviet zone. So they have effectively killed off nearly half the penalty. 105 now until Leach vacates the penalty box. Ilya Biakin skating in for the Soviets. From the corner, has his centering pass intercepted by Laviolette for the moment, but the Soviets maintain possession. Fetisov gets it over to Biakin. His shot, and a great save by Terreri because it went through the legs of Norton. And a scrap in front of the net.
Chris Terreri not only making the save, but very importantly covering up the rebound. Now the Soviets are now moving their big line onto the ice again. And two particularly key players to look for are Krutov, #9, and Fetisov, #2. You can see the shot going right through the defenseman Norton's legs. The rebound going out, but coming right back to Chris Terreri.
1-0 Soviets on top. Leach in the penalty box for the next 45 seconds. The first penalty of the game. 11:01 left in the first period. The time remaining there on the penalty. This is Larionov, the very outspoken Igor Larionov. Up ahead to Fetisov. Fetisov tries to get it into the corner to Krutov, and it's picked off by Brown, and he clears it out to the neutral zone. And the U.S. has killed the first 1:45 of the penalty. As the clock ticks down, Leach will be out of the box in 11 seconds. Krutov over to Fetisov. Fetisov to Kasatonov, and he scores from the slot with 3 seconds remaining in Leach's penalty. Kasatonov skating in from out in front of the net, puts it in to make it 2-0.
The U.S. team was finding themselves one pass behind. And when you get that way, you start running around. And all of a sudden, there's the open man, and in the crucial spot, Kasatonov coming in front, using the defenseman or Miller as a screen and right through Terreri's legs. This experienced line of the Soviet team, they used to come at you in waves, and now they come at you much more selectively. They're very surgical in their approach. They got the big goal, the opening goal of the game, by doing it that way. They did it the same way on the power play.
And that was the reaction of Brian Leach, who was ready to come out of the box in another 3 seconds. So the Soviets on top by a score of 2-0 in the first period. Chernik gets it up to Kozhevnikov. Off the stick of Lomakin, who gets taken down, and Scott Young tries to wrest control of it for the U.S. Loose behind the net, circling, and the shot and the save by Terreri.
The key in any game like this is what happens when you get to a situation.
9:40 left in the first period. 2-0 the Soviets on top and putting the pressure on here. Lomakin out to the point, shot in, and deflected off to the near side where Corey Millen comes up with a puck for the U.S. Leading Granado. Soviets send it around to the near side. And we'll have a face-off in front of the Soviet net as the net comes off. It's Magnets.
Well, as I started to say earlier, the key is really what happens right now. Now, obviously, when a team like the Soviets gets a quick 2-goal lead, the energy in the U.S. team starts to flag. Now, it becomes very important how they get through these next couple of minutes. Chris Terreri is probably going to be counted on to come up with a couple of big saves. The leaders on the team are going to have to really show some leadership qualities. They can get through the next couple of minutes. There's still a long game to go.
Number 30, Semyonov, sending it into the American end. Gosselin behind the net. Mike Eruzione, your thoughts at this point?
Well, Al, I think the interesting thing now is with the U.S. down 2-0, if they do fall behind 3-0, they're going to be in trouble because they're going to have to open up the game. And if they open up their game, that's going to give the Soviets a lot more chances. So that next goal is a big goal.
Crucial. Brian Leach trying to keep it in. And the Soviets get it out to center ice as Semyonov starts back. To the far board to Gusarov, and he sends it in around the boards where Brian Leach is there for the U.S. He drops it for Guy Gosselin. Gosselin up ahead off the stick of Donatelli. The U.S. now with a line change. The line centered by Craig Janney is out there now as Kamienski skates into the U.S. end. Scott Young with Janney for the American team. Young goes down. No penalty. Brown wanted the call and don't get it. Diekov now to Kamienski and the save by Terreri. Good forechecking pressure by the Soviets as the U.S. tries to get it out of their own end. Peter Laviolette now lofting it out to center ice to alleviate momentarily the pressure.
What we have to remember about this Soviet team is that they are a vulnerable team. The point is whether you can make them vulnerable.
Flat shot is wide. All the way out to Kasatonov, who scored the last Soviet goal. He sends it into the corner. Brown chasing it along with Kamienski. 7.5 minutes to play. 2-0 Soviets here in the first period. A penalty coming up on Miller, so the Soviets will have another power play opportunity as Miller is whistled for the penalty here at the 12:36 mark of the first period. The Soviets on top, 2-0. 2-0 the Soviets, and a critical juncture in this game early on now as the Soviets have a power play with Miller in the box for the U.S.
Well, it was a bad penalty at a bad time. It was a deserved one. When your team is as vulnerable as the U.S. team is right now, you can't find yourself shorthanded.
And the KLM line is out there for the Soviets. Krutov, Larionov, and Makarov. Makarov with a puck. Couldn't get the shot away, but with good stick handling to Larionov. And back out to the blue line and shot in wide. Rebound, great save by Terreri. 1:23 left in the penalty, and the U.S. able to clear it. Icing is allowed when you're a man down. You don't have a whistle in that particular case because you are short a man. And the Soviets 5 for 10 thus far on power play opportunities in the Olympics. Millen sweeps in, comes up with the puck. Corley skates in, lost control of it, couldn't get the shot away. A minute left now in the penalty.
The U.S. team has had trouble killing penalties so far in the Olympics. A big moment.
Krutov dropping it to Biakin and taken away by Brian Leach. Up ahead to Tony Granado. His shot, a bouncing stick save. Granado goes down. Crowd wants another penalty call. And this time they'll get it. So with Miller in the box for the next 41 seconds, number 5, Gusarov will be sent off with the Soviets.
Well, you can almost tell when a penalty is about to be called. That the U.S. team has been penalized a few times, and it just seems that the rhythm of the game is such that the next thing that is marginal that the other team will do will get penalized. Now the U.S. team will have an opportunity in 41 seconds to go on the power play. They've been very strong on the power play so far in the Olympic tournament.
Each team now shy a man, so 4 skaters for each team for the next 41 seconds, and then the United States will have a man advantage for 1 minute and 19. 6:05 remaining, first period. Soviets on top 2-0. Steve Leach for the face-off for the United States, and ground shot, glove save by Milnikov. This is Yashin for the Soviets.
One thing about a 4-on-4 situation is that the Soviets are a very good open ice team. U.S. team is good as well, but the Soviets are better 4-on-4.
Svetlov, and the shot saved by Tereri. Donatelli sends it along the boards to Brown. 12 seconds left in the penalty to Miller, and then the U.S. will have a man advantage. Norton with it. Up ahead to his own blue line. Leach sends it in for Janney, and he has it taken away beautifully by Fetisov. Now Miller comes out of the box, and the United States has a man advantage for the next 1:13. And the Soviets send it back out to center ice. Scott Young up ahead to Miller, and he was in ahead of the puck. He was in over the blue line before the puck, offside. 1:04 remaining now in the penalty to Gusarov.
Just as it is in any kind of game, there are rhythms to it, and you got to catch the right one. The U.S. team was down. Now they have a moment to close. They've got a little bit over a minute for a power play. This is a real opportunity for them.
Snuggerud and Janney are out there. Janney taking this face-off along with Kevin Miller. And this is Brian Leach, who's paired on defense here with Scott Young, the converted forward. Leach shoots it in around the boards. 52 seconds left in the U.S. power play. And back out it comes to center ice. So the American team has to regroup. Leach starts in with it. Has it poke checked away. Up ahead, Guikov skating in. And Tereri luckily made the save as it triggered him and off to the left of the post. And then Tereri makes another save on the spinning shot with 4:33 remaining in the first period. 28 seconds left in the penalty.
Pics for all the world to see.
That's the time remaining in the period. 20 seconds remaining in the penalty. The U.S. with one last rush as Millen takes the pass from Leach. Corey skates into the corner and leaves it for Fusco. Out to Brian Leach. To Fusco again. Leach now from in front. His shot and a save by Milnikov with 6 seconds remaining in the Soviet penalty.
What I find a little bit surprising, and it's only been in the last 20 seconds or so that the U.S. big line has been out on the power play. That for the bulk of the time it was another line. It was the Janney line. Before that, Millen was out on the ice, but when it was 4-on-4, this power play unit with Millen, Granado, and Bourbeau has been so strong. I'm a bit surprised they weren't out earlier to put the kind of pressure on that was necessary. You saw what they could do just in the 20 seconds that they've had so far.
2 seconds left in the penalty now. And the teams are now at equal strength. Deflected shot, rebound, great save that time by Milnikov. Saves it again. Heavy pressure from the U.S., but Milnikov is there. Loose puck in front. And Millen couldn't put it in, but the Soviets will get another penalty here. And again, the U.S. will have a man advantage as they'll send Igor Stelnov to the box.
Well, a big save by Milnikov. What he told his team right in that particular moment of action, that he is ready.
Soviets on top. The teams each with 10 shots on goal. Igor Stelnov in the penalty box for the next 2 minutes. So now Janney, Snuggerud, and Miller are out there for the United States with Leach and Scott Young. From the faceoff, Brian Leach to Janney. To Leach again, and it comes out past the blue line. So the U.S. team has to come back and regroup again. Dave Snuggerud starts in. To Sends it into the corner and around the boards where Kevin Miller chases it down, but he loses the puck, and Kasatonov is able to clear it to center ice. Brian Leash to Young. He comes in over the blue line. Sends it in around the boards. Janney chases it down. Picked up by Janney. He drops it for Snuggerud, but the Soviets can't clear. Kept in for the moment by Scott Young, and then Janney keeps it in. Now to Brian Leach. His shot, stick save by Milnikov.
Milnikov is gaining confidence with every save he makes.
And he's made 11 of them here in the first period with 2 minutes and 53 seconds to play in the period and 1:02 remaining in the penalties. And Kevin Miller in this line skates off as the U.S. now attempting to capitalize on this power play chance. Sending out Fusco with Steve Leach and Lane McDonald. The defensemen Norton and Brown. This is Brown with a puck. Youngest player on the team. Loses it at the Soviet blue line. And the Soviets will try to take a few seconds off the clock as they clear it down into the U.S. end. Terreri leaves it for Brown. 42 seconds left in the power play. Norton. 2:28 remaining in the period. And the Soviets take the pressure off, clearing it to center ice. In the slot, nice move, and the shot's wide by Svetlov. McDonald now coming back the other way. 20 seconds left in the penalty. Lane McDonald skates in. Nearly had it poke checked away. Norton keeps it in. His shot is wide along the near side. Leach knocks it down beautifully to Steve Leach. His shot is deflected wide to the right. 5 seconds left in the penalty. Brian Leach. Slap shot deflected. Penalty is over. Both teams are at full strength again. 1:45 to play in the period. So the Soviets effectively kill that penalty. And it's still 2-0 Soviets, 1:35 to play in the first period.
The U.S. team had good activity in the Soviet zone. They didn't get much action around the goaltender Milnikov.
And 1:28 to play in the period. 1:10 left in the first period. The United States in white, the Soviets in red. Soviets on top by a score of 2-0. Kamensky, number 13, winds up, slap shot, comes all the way out to the neutral zone, where the Soviets trying to move it ahead. Homutov, number 15, to Buikov. Buikov skates in, Millen breaks the play up. Corey Millen picks the puck up. Corey, only 5'7", very stocky, very fast. Draft rights owned by the New York Rangers. Gosselin sends it up ahead and shot in from the point around the boards with 30 seconds now remaining in the period. Back into the U.S. end now, Gosselin sends it along the boards for Scott Young. 20 seconds left in the period. Alan Bourbeau now behind his own net to Scott Young. Time for one last charge. And in fact, they can't even get that away as we'll have an icing call here and a face-off to come up in front of Terreri with 8 seconds to play in the period. And the frustrated Corey Millen, the U.S. has had several good opportunities here in the first period, but unable to cash in.
Well, I think the good news for the U.S. team at the moment is that for about the last 10 minutes, they've been very much into the flow of the game. They have kept pace with the Soviet team. They will go into the dressing room with some measure of encouragement, even though they're down 2-0.
8 seconds to play now in the first period. Janney sends it along the boards. Kept in at the point, but time expires, and so the first period is over. The U.S. winds up out-shooting the Soviets 11-10. However, at the end of the first period of play, the Soviet Union on top by a score of 2-0.
Entraîner une équipe en Autriche à Klagenfurt. Bon, alors Makarov a marqué d'abord à 7-23 avec l'aide de Fetisov. C'était une très belle passe. Il s'est dirigé seul vers Terry qui l'a déjoué. Puis à 9-41, Kazatonov a réussi le but, le deuxième des Soviétiques, avec l'aide de Larionov et Fetisov. Lors d'un avantage numérique, les tirs au but, 11 par les États-Unis et 10 par les Soviétiques.
Alors, les Américains ont eu leur chance, Jacques, mais contrairement aux Soviétiques qui nous ont montré une qualité de jeu de passe très élevée, beaucoup de finesse à l'entour du filet, comme sur le but de Makarov. Eh bien, les Américains, eux, beaucoup d'intensité, beaucoup d'agressivité en zone offensive, mais la finesse, les passes sont imprécises et on ne peut pas compléter les jeux. Et à cela, il faut ajouter que le gardien soviétique, Milnikov, a fait les arrêts lorsqu'il devait les faire, tandis que Terry, de qui on voulait avoir un gros match, eh bien, n'a pas nécessairement fait les gros arrêts.
Alors à l'écran, c'est Tikhonov. Tikhonov, pour certains, ce serait son chant du cygne s'il ne remporte pas la médaille d'or. Est-ce que tu y crois à cette chose-là, Pierre?
Mais il est rendu à 57 ans, Jacques, et en Union soviétique, on parle beaucoup, du moins ce qu'on entend, nous, de l'avenue éventuelle de Dmitriev au poste d'instructeur-chef. Alors, c'est fort probable que, dans le cas de Tikhonov, c'est le chant du cygne si l'URSS devait gagner la médaille d'or, surtout.
Corey Mellon au centre. Devant lui, c'est Larionov. 2-0, URSS. But marqué par Makarov et Kazaton. Mellon avec à sa gauche Granato. Et à la droite, c'est Snagrud, non plutôt Bourbeau. Larionov aussitôt à Makarov. Il perd et reprend. Une passe qui va sur le bâton de Bourbon, aussitôt à Mellon. Mellon revient sur ses pas. Échange chez les arrières. Gosselin veut remettre plus loin. La rondelle lui revient. Et finalement, repousse le disque loin chez les Soviétiques. Une passe de Makarov qui va jusque sur le bâton de Bourbon. Et la sienne est interceptée par Kazatonov. Aussitôt, c'est perdu et repris par Krutov à Larionov. Il se pointe au but. Avec Krutov, il tire. Et la rondelle ira glisser jusqu'à l'autre bout après qu'elle eut raté complètement le filet. Une rondelle qui est reprise devant Snagrud et il s'est étendu tout son long mais n'a pu pousser la rondelle plus loin pour son coéquipier. Krutov à Makarov aussitôt. Une rondelle qui est reprise par Semyonov qui venait de s'amener dans la mêlée, remplaçant Larionov. Et là, c'est Krutov, remet derrière à Goussarov. 18 minutes 47 secondes, encore à jouer avant la fin de la deuxième période. Là, c'est Svetlov. Svetlov qui a été blessé lors de la Coupe Canada le 8 septembre dans un match contre la Suède. Et il s'était fracturé un poignet. Là, la belle passe de Bédard, il est seul. Il marque!
Les Soviétiques qui exerçaient un bon contrôle de rondelle avant cette séquence. Mais là, la belle passe de Brown à McDonald, ça a permis d'échapper et de lancer dans le coin bas qui a déjoué Milnikov. On en a parlé lors de l'entracte. L'importance des passes prises dans un tel match. Et là, on a eu une passe.
2-1, the Soviets on top. The U.S. now has outshot the Soviets 12-10. Steve Leach to Scott Young. Busko kept in by the Soviets, and a great save by Terry off the shot by Kamensky.
Important save by Terry.
Busko in over the blue line. Laviolette keeps it in. He shoots. It's blocked in front. Stevens and McDonald were there. McDonald couldn't backhand it. Back it comes to the neutral zone.
The U.S. team has to watch now that they don't get too carried away. They've got to play with discipline as well as with energy.
Svetlov skating in. His shot deflected through the crease. Kamensky written out of the play. Loose puck picked up by McDonald and cleared to center ice and beyond.
The Soviets are an outstanding team in turning the energy against you. They trap you right in. They find a man up the middle.
Chernik sends it up ahead to Lamakin. Poke checked away nicely by Miller. Up ahead to Janney. He fakes a slap shot. Now Miller's slap shot off the pass is wide. 3 minutes into the second period. 2-1 Soviets. Lomakin now skates in. Trying to get it over to Kozevnikov. Into the corner. Kozevnikov checked by Norton. Janney scrapping for it. Now Norton takes control of the puck. Jeff Norton skating out of his own end and sending it into the corner. Line change for the U.S. as Granato comes out with Millen and Bourbeau. And the number one line out there for the Soviets. This is Larionov. Granato takes the puck away, and then a penalty coming up on Larionov. As he sends Granato to the ice, the United States will have a man advantage for the next 2 minutes with 16:33 to go in the second period. And we'll return to the Saddle Dome right after this word from your local station. From the face-off, the Soviets able to clear it into the U.S. end. U.S. with a power play opportunity for the next 1 minute and 45 seconds. So the Americans with a man advantage as Scott Young sends it over to Brian Leach. Now to Young.
The U.S. has their top power play unit on now. Been very successful so far in the Olympics.
And Millen was in ahead of the play over the blue line, offside. 1:33 remaining in the penalty to Larionov. And let's get a comment from Mike Eruzione.
Yeah, one thing that was said between the periods from Coach Peterson that he was very pleased with their performance, thought they played real well, but thought they were a little too conservative and wanted them to pick the pace up. They have so far. They seem to be skating a little quicker with a little more enthusiasm than they did in that first period.
And they have scored the only goal of the second period. A man advantage for the next 1:33. Millen on the faceoff. He's flanked by Granato and Fusco. Young now skates in, picked up at the blue line, and the puck had come back out over the blue line and then taken in again by Granato, and that's the reason for the offside. 15:59 to go in the period, 1:26 left in the penalty. Had stolen a pass and had come in alone and then had lost the puck as it slithers through the crease. And the Americans now send it back the other way as Leach to Millen. Millen to Granato. His shot, great save by Milnikov. And cleared out. Fetisov now. Taken out of the play by Fusco, who sends it to Brian Leach. 45 seconds left in the penalty. Brian Leach kicks all the way and his shot saved. Rebound saved. Millen back of the net to Brian Leach out in front. His shot is wide. 35 seconds left in the penalty. Young sends it in around the boards to Fusco. To Corey Millen. Brian Leach taps it back to Millen. Now Leach from the blue line breaks his stick. And the Soviets have a 2-on-2 and Leach is without a stick. And the shot is off Leach. Leach went down to block it with his pad, with his leg. The U.S. with a man advantage, but Leach still without a stick. 6 seconds left in the penalty. Shot in from the point, knocked down. Millen gets it up ahead to Miller, and Miller is taken out of the play. Janney following. Penalty is over. Teams are at equal strength. Brown shoots it in from the point. Bouncing puck skitters through the crease. Miller. Knocked down by Gusarov. Picked up by Okerlund. Todd Okerlund to Miller. Okerlund trying to get control again. Janney there to help out. 14 minutes left in the period. And cleared out to center ice. Larionov's shot blocked by Norton. Soviets on top by a score of 2-1. U.S. with the only goal here in the second period as Janney skates in. Janney ridden out of the play. Loose puck taken by Svetlov. Svetlov coming in. Brown picks him up. And the shot by Bleakov and a great save by Terreri.
There's some incredible action in the last 2 or 3 minutes at both ends of the ice.
Donatelli, drop pass, slap shot, save by Melnikov. 13:20 remaining in a furious second period. 2-1 Soviets. United States and the Soviet Union meeting in the Olympics for the first time since that night in 1980 when Mike Eruzione scored. The final was 4-3. Dave Peterson was a high school coach at the time. He was an assistant in '84 when the U.S. finished 7th in Sarajevo. The United States has outshot the Soviet Union 16-11 through the first period and 7 minutes of the second. 13:05 to play in the second period. And a good part of this period has been played in the Soviet end.
Well, it's been a good start for the U.S. team in this second period. They're starting to build up confidence. If they can keep it going a little bit longer, then they'll start to create a little bit of doubt in the Soviets' minds. And that's what any upset needs.
Omutov was taken down by Gosselin. Risky pass, deflected, and then Gosselin winds up with the puck in his uniform, in his jersey with 12:39. Art Berglund is the general manager of the U.S. Olympic team. Watching this team through its 60-game pre-Olympic schedule and now Game 3 here in Calgary. And let's check in with Mike Eruzione. Mike?
Yeah, one other thing that Coach Peterson talked about between the periods was he wanted to keep the Soviet players out of the middle, force them to carry the puck wide along the boards.
Lee shoots it in and offside. And again, the United States in Group B, the Soviets are unbeaten at 2-0. West Germany won today, by the way, so they are now 3-0. The U.S. and Czechoslovakia, as the day began, were tied for third, and Czechoslovakia won, so the Americans would need a victory to remain in a tie for third place. 3 of the 6 teams will advance to the medal round. Even if the United States loses this one, they would still be eligible to advance to the medal round with a victory over Norway, and then a crucial game would come up on Sunday night against West Germany, which would perhaps determine the third entrant in the medal round. All that to be discussed as we go along, but right now the puck is taken away at the blue line, and then the pass is behind number 22, Kozhevnikov, fortunately for the American defense, and the Soviets have to regroup.
That's the sort of play that has killed the U.S. in the game tonight and also in the game against Czechoslovakia. It is the kind of play they need to avoid. The Soviet team will not mess up many chances like that.
In over the right side, Kasatonov sends him into the U.S. end, and he's taken down. And we're going to have a penalty coming up on the United States with 11:43 remaining in the second period. 2-1 Soviets.
Right team, number 9, Pokey.
Scott Fusco has just been sent off for hooking at 8:17. The Soviets now with a man advantage. They lead 2-1. Time left of the period, 11:43.
The Soviets have the unit on right now that has scored both the Soviet goals.
One of them by Kasatonov, the other by Makarov. The two men have just handled the puck. Larionov now. Kasatonov to Makarov. This is the stable KLM line out there. And Kasatonov, the defenseman, sends it in, and it's saved by Tereri.
This is a time when Chris Tereri has to come up very big. He's a very important man at the moment.
Krutov to Fetisov. He sends it in, and from the slot, it's backhanded. Another great save by Tereri. Kasatonov couldn't get the shot away. Makarov has it saved by Tereri. Great save. 1:24 left in the penalty.
U.S. team, when they move on a Soviet player.
And Kasatonov scores off the pass. Slap shot by Kasatonov off the pass, his second goal of the game.
Well, it was a stoppable shot. It was unobstructed, undeflected. Here you can see the action around the Soviet net first. The puck goes back to Fetisov. And then across to his partner, to Kasatonov, who just lets it go right through Chris Tereri's legs.
So
Chris Tereri has to provide for the rest of this game. It's not only the big save.
Soviets on top by a score of 3-1. Teams at equal strength as Svetlov with a beautiful pass and a great save by Tereri off the shot by Yashin. Leach trying to clear it, and the Soviets able to keep it in. Yashin gets taken down by Young, and it's sent down the length of the ice, where Milnikov leads it for Byakin.
Chris Tereri making another outstanding save. But again, what he has to be able to do, and it's in the nature of being a goaltender, is you've got to provide the consistency. You make the big save, but then you make the routine saves as well. You deliver a message to your team that everything is in hand. You deliver a message to your opponent that they should be discouraged and frustrated. There was the outstanding save. Now it's up to Chris Tereri to provide very solid goaltending.
9:58 remaining in the second period. So the game half over. Soviets on top. 3-1. Each team has scored once here in the period. And out to center ice, Kamensky can't control. Brown takes it for the United States. McDonald sends it into the corner. Fusco chases it down. And offside. 9:43 remaining in the second period. Soviets in red on top by a score of 3-1. Kamensky's shot is off the side of the net. Pomutov with it. He's checked by Gosselin. And it's Tereri trying to cover up. Weikov's shot, and finally Tereri is able to cover up after the save.
In 1980, the U.S. team was able to upset the Soviets by staying close to them the whole game. They weren't necessarily ahead. In fact, they weren't ahead until at the end of the game. But they stayed close. They stayed close. They discouraged the Soviets. They started to frustrate them. The game started to wind down, and the upset became possible. What the U.S. team has to demonstrate now is that they can continue to stay close.
The American team has outshot the Soviets 17-16. Kasatonov has it deflected, and it's cleared out by Bourbeau. But the Soviets come back as it's shot in from the right wing by Kozyevnikov, offside. The U.S. Olympic hockey team, a very young team. The oldest player on the team, Scott Fusco, is 25. Quite in contrast, obviously, to the Soviets, who have 6 players who were there in Lейк-Плэсиде, and several others as well from 1984.
Well, that is their strength, but it is also their weakness if you can come to exploit it. The players that have really let them down in the last year have been those veteran players. Krutov has not been the same. Fetisov has not been the same player. They are their leaders, and those are the ones you have to make vulnerable. You have to get into their minds, get after their confidence.
Two-line pass offside, though the Americans contend that it was deflected at center ice, and that shouldn't have been the call. And now the referee, Ante Koskinen of Finland, letting somebody have a piece of his mind.
Well, I think the call was missed. It did appear to be deflected, and it was just simply a mistake.
And so the face-off at the U.S. blue line. Millen facing off against Chernik. Granado over to Young, across to Laviolette, up ahead to Millen. Millen sending it for Bourbeau, and the skittering puck over the top of his stick, collected by Laviolette. Young sends it along the boards, but Kasakin on pace control only momentarily. Now Millen skating in, Millen with Granado, Millen with Bourbeau now, Bourbeau puts it in!
Remarkable second effort by Bourbeau. It looked like he was being hauled down and out of the play, and the puck was rolling seemingly harmlessly into the corner, and somehow Bourbeau got his stick on it.
Granado was out in front of him. Bourbeau came up on the side and falling down, able to put it in.
Nice play by Corey Millen, waiting to find the open Bourbeau. And watch, he looks like he's completely tied up. He's on the ice and just shoves it in. In many ways, if anything else had happened in that place, he wouldn't have been able to score. Milnikov would have been able to stop it.
And we'll be back after this from your local station. Putting the pressure on. A good save by Milnikov while we were away for the moment. Now a whistle for offside with 7:30 to play in the second period. And the score at the moment is just what it was at the end of the second period at Lейк-Плэсиде. 3-2 Soviets.
Well, a fine play by Corey Millen, who slowed down the pace of it, waited for Bourbeau to get into the opening, and then Bourbeau did the rest. This is a time when the Soviet team is their most dangerous. When the other team gets an awful lot of energy going, they can turn the energy right against them with that one quick opening pass. The U.S. team has to play with its head now as well as with its heart.
3-2 Soviets, 7:20 to play in the second period. Leach scrapping for it, gets it up to Lane McDonald. McDonald sends it cross ice for Steve Leach. And he has it poke-checked away by Stelnoff at the blue line. Terreri now sweeps it along the boards. Svetlov for the Soviets. Gosselin rides him out of the play. Steve Leach in behind the net over to Brian Leach. No relation, not even spelled the same way. Guy Gosselin. Kept in by Kravchuk. Now out to center ice. Lane McDonald, who scored the first goal, has been the Harvard connection tonight. McDonald and Bourbeau scoring. Now Brian Leach skating in. Over to Janney. Janney taken out of the play. Okerlund goes down. Homotov on the near side. Now to Yashin. Back come the Soviets. He's picked up by Laviolette. And Laviolette able to poke it away off the glass. 6:10 to play, second period. Out in front. Wyckoff fanned on the shot. Konstantinov's shot is off the glass above the net.
Well, the first period was very much of a strategic period. This period is all energy.
Under 6 minutes now to play in the second period. Soviets on top. 3-2. The U.S. has outshot them 19-16. Janney leaves it for Okerlund. Okerlund drop pass to Miller. Back out to the point. Young keeps it in. Now taken by Fetisov. Up ahead to Wyckoff. Homotov. Beautiful pass. Kamensky scores. The Soviets so adept at getting out of their own end quickly with a crisp, sharp passing. And they lead now 4-2.
Soviets again breaking quickly, but also what happened?
4-2, the Soviets on top with 5.5 minutes to play in the second period. And you were saying, Ken?
Well, the one problem that the U.S. team had, and I'm sure that we'll see it on the replay, is defensively they weren't in too bad position on that play, but the defense, again, were puck watching. Especially Scott Young, and he left the open man for the shot.
Chernik has his shot deflected by Norton. Shot in from the point, saved by Terreri. Norton straps for it with Granado behind the net, collected by Brown for the moment. Brown kicks it along the board. And now it comes out toward the blue line. Biakin missing. And back comes the U.S. Bourbeau sending it up ahead for Millen, and it's poked away off his stick by Gusarov. And then Millen goes into the boards. Crowd wants a penalty. They don't get it. Gosselin knocks it down. Makarov gets taken down. And Donatelli sends it up ahead to center ice. Makarov takes over, back to Biakin. To Makarov. The Soviet veteran skating in, hounded by Gosselin. Looking for a centering pass. Looking to stuff it in. Saved by Terreri.
Too much out-of-control action around the U.S. net. The Soviet players one-on-one are beating the U.S. players. It means that it takes somebody out of his regular position to chase, and then all hell breaks loose. The U.S. team has to be able to control on the one-on-ones.
And now it's Svetlov. Laviolette is there, and the puck hits the side of the net. Laviolette able to break up the play, but Lariana puts it in. Igor Larionov putting it in after Terreri had made the initial save.
It's what happens when the bodies start flying. .344 remaining in the period. Soviets on top by a score of 5-2 with 3.5 minutes to play now in the second period. Konstantinov skates in, saved by Terreri. So the Soviets putting all the pressure on now in the last 5 minutes, and we'll take a look at the last goal by that man, Larionov. Well, it's what we were talking about earlier. When all of a sudden you get behind the play, then everybody starts chasing. And bodies are flying everywhere, and there's going to be people that are wide open. You get taken out of your own position to do somebody else's job, and then usually it ends up in your own net. The U.S. team has shown very little defensive discipline again tonight, and it really has been their downfall. Just as they get back into the game with the kind of energy that they have offensively, they need some kind of discipline defensively, or else at some point that energy is going to get discouraged.
5-2 as they do some repair work on the netting. Larianov scoring his first goal in the 3 games. Terreri in the nets for the U.S. tonight, played sparingly with the New Jersey Devils of the NHL last season. 3:27 left in the second period. Remaining in the second period, the Soviets on top by a score of 5-2. And coming in over the blue line and then taken out of the play by Brown as Norton gets it ahead to Janney. And we're going to have a penalty coming up on the U.S.
The penalty often results when one player doesn't take his check and somebody else has to do it for him behind the play, and the penalty results. You can see it happening. The Soviet player breaks into the open. He has to get ridden off by somebody else, and the penalty gets called.
Jeff Norton, hometown, Acton, Massachusetts, plays at the University of Michigan. And he goes off here, and Dave Peterson's team in a real bind now, down by 3 and down a man with 2:46 to play in the second period. Biakin didn't get much on that shot. And it's not out. It's kept in by Biakin. Over to Homutov. And Biakin again not getting much on that. Second.
I think he's got a rubber stick.
Yeah, it looks like it. Kamensky, and it's Bekoff in front, who couldn't get the shot away. And finally, Leach gets a hold of the puck and clears it the length of the ice. 1:18 remaining in the penalty. 2 minutes now left in the second period. Biakin picked up by Millen. Shot comes in on Terreri, and Terreri sends it the length of the ice in his best Ron Hextall imitation.
The U.S. team is making the big plays. Now they've got to show that they can make the little plays as well.
50 seconds remaining in the penalty. 1:35 remaining in the period. Laviolette sending it in. Recapturing it. Backhanding wide. And Vyacheslav Fetisov. Nice pass up ahead to Larianov. He sends it to Krutov. Back to Larianov behind the net. He sends it out in front, slapped in, and it goes in. Fetisov didn't get much on it. It was almost like throwing a changeup by Terreri. And it's 6-2.
Now the wrong goal at the wrong moment. Let's just see what happened on it. Whether it was obstructed in any way. But it comes out to Fetisov, who is usually a very hard shot, but he really mishits it. And I think Chris Terreri, as you suggested, was expecting the high hardwood. He had a clear view of the shot.
1:14 remaining in the second period. So Fetisov with the goal, and who knows if the rumors come true and Fetisov and Makarov play in the National Hockey League sometime in the future. Their right's owned by New Jersey, and a penalty coming up here on Jani. So the Soviets have just capitalized on one power play and another power play coming up as Jani gets sent off to the penalty box.
The penalty happened for the same reason the goals are happening. The U.S. players are not in the right position there. You can see Jani should have been with his man. He was behind him. He had to hook him and haul him down.
On lui fait perdre, mais la rondelle glisse jusqu'à Lomakin. Aussitôt à Kojevnikov. On remet derrière à Kravchuk. À Kojevnikov un tir. Et la rondelle bondit par-dessus le filet après l'arrêt. Là, Kojevnikov, autre tir, arrêt de QIWI. Il reste 15 secondes à la période et 1-10 à la pénalité. Kravchuk, rondelle libre et on doit rentrer au centre. C'est à peu près tout ce qu'on verra en cette fin de deuxième période. Voilà les Américains qui semblent être sur la bonne voie, ont vu les Soviétiques revenir et marquer à quelques reprises.
Oui, les Américains qui avaient fermé l'écart à 3-2, Jacques, mais par la suite, les Soviétiques ont marqué 3 buts sans riposte et des buts qui sont survenus lors de la deuxième moitié de la deuxième période, alors que le tempo des Soviétiques est resté le même tout le long du match, tandis que les Américains, eux, ont beaucoup d'intensité en début de match, début de période, mais ça ralentit par la suite.
6-2 URSS, Calgary 88 se poursuit dans un moment au réseau TVA. Fetisov et Krutov. Puis Bourbeau y allait d'un but avec l'aide de Corey Mellon. Et ensuite, là, les 3 buts soviétiques, Kamiensky, Khomutov et Bikov sur les passes. Larionov avec Svetlov et Fetisov avec Krutov et Larionov. Et c'est là qu'on en est à 6-2 après 40 minutes de jeu. Alors les joueurs reviennent sur la patinoire. Les tirs au but, peut-être que ça peut vous intéresser. 24-19 favorisant les Soviétiques après 2 périodes de jeu. Et comme on l'a dit tout à l'heure, je pense que la 3e période sera un peu longue pour les Américains, à moins que des choses qui surviennent dès le début de l'engagement. Mais il faut dire que les Américains joueront en désavantage numérique puisque Jani a été pénalisé alors qu'il restait un peu plus d'1 minute. D'ailleurs, il a 58 secondes encore à faire au cachot avant d'être à armes égales.
Et genre, ce qui me fait peur du côté des Américains, c'est pas tellement le début de la 3e période, parce que, comme tu le sais, lors de tous leurs matchs, ils ont eu beaucoup d'intensité en début de période. Ils sont des jeunes et ils jouent avec leur cœur, comme on l'a mentionné tantôt. Mais en fin de période, la machine soviétique est tellement bien rodée que lorsque les Américains baissent d'un cran dans leur intensité, eh bien, ils n'ont plus tellement de chance. Surtout qu'en leur zone défensive, les Américains manquent un peu de technique, ne couvrent pas bien leur zone. Ils ont tendance davantage à attaquer à 2 la porteur de la rondelle, ce qui laisse forcément un gars à découvert. Et les Soviétiques, de fins passeurs, trouvent souvent ce gars à découvert.
On sait qu'avec la nouvelle politique de transparence, le glasnost soviétique, il y a certaines choses que certaines personnes disent, comme par exemple Larionov qui a critiqué la façon de s'entraîner. Et est-ce que je peux avoir tes vues là-dessus, Pierre?
Eh bien, Jacques, Tretiak a mentionné au sujet de cette critique-là que lorsque les Soviétiques gagnaient toutes ces médailles, tous ces championnats-là, on n'avait pas de critiques. Mais c'est un peu comme tu mentionnais, leur politique. Probablement qu'il y avait des critiques au sein de l'équipe. On en a toujours eu des critiques au sein des équipes, et surtout au sein des équipes gagnantes, parce que je suis le Canadien de Montréal, par exemple, il y a toujours eu des gars qui ont eu certaines critiques à formuler, et pourtant, c'est les équipes qui ont gagné. La seule chose qu'il faut retenir de la critique de Larionov, je crois, c'est pas tellement le fait qu'il s'entraîne 11 mois par année, parce que si on décide d'être un athlète professionnel, il faut y mettre les efforts. Mais ce que je
mais ils ne se disent pas professionnels, c'est ça?
Oui, bon, maintenant ils sont. Ce que je retiens surtout de cette critique-là, c'est qu'il a mentionné, lui, que le club de l'Armée rouge était trop puissant et la chose était trop facile pour eux. Et la critique de Larionov a porté fruit parce qu'on a changé les règlements en Union soviétique au sujet des équipes dans la Ligue nationale A.
Parce que le CSK, c'est-à-dire le club sportif de l'armée soviétique, allait chercher des joueurs un peu partout et puis les amenait pour cette équipe-là qui est le noyau de l'équipe nationale. Et puis on ne les retournait pas à leurs équipes originales. Et puis maintenant, là, après un certain temps, ils doivent retourner à leur équipe originale. Toujours en avantage numérique, les Soviétiques. On perd la rondelle au centre. C'est Brown qui rejette en territoire soviétique. Jani en a encore pour une trentaine de secondes. Mauvaise passe, mais la rondelle glisse jusqu'à Kasatonov, à Larionov. Larionov, centre de la patinoire. Et ça va jusqu'à Makarov, à Larionov. Et c'est une rondelle qui ira finalement sur le bâton de Fetisov. Intervention du gardien Terreri qui choisit de retenir le disque puisqu'il a perdu pied juste au moment où il allait toucher la rondelle derrière. Et il reste 10 secondes avant le retour de Gianni.
Et là, on a bousculé Makarov. Mais il y a une chose, Jacques, qu'on a remarqué au fil des années, c'est que les Soviétiques, pas question de les intimider, peu importe leur grosseur, ils reviennent toujours. Terreri qui a fait une chute derrière son filet et heureusement pour lui, il a chuté sur la rondelle.
On reprendra juste à l'extérieur du territoire américain.
Pendant qu'on voit Sergei Makarov, premier compteur de son équipe et dans la Ligue nationale de l'Union soviétique, 7 fois au cours des 8 dernières saisons.
Son idole, tu sais, c'était qui?
Non.
C'était Valéry Arlamov. Et le frère de Makarov, qui est Nikolai, jouait pour la même équipe que Arlamov. Et à ce moment-là, c'est là que Sergei a eu le goût de jouer au hockey quand les deux se sont rencontrés dans le vestiaire, c'est-à-dire Nikolai et Valéry Arlamov. Tu sais que Valéry Arlamov est décédé lors d'un accident d'automobile en 1980. Là, c'est une rondelle qui est prise dans le coin de la patinoire et elle sortira. On se rend jusqu'à l'autre bout où c'est pris par Terreri, par la clôture. Et un tir de Semyonov, ça aurait pu être coûteux à l'équipe américaine. Sortie de zone des Américains avec Craig Gianni, dont la pénalité venait de se terminer. Là, c'est rejeté en zone adverse. Granato qui maille à partir avec deux soviétiques et on retient la rondelle pendant un petit moment le long de la rampe. Et Mellon le remet devant. Personne pour faire dévier. Cependant, un tir qui rate la cible plus loin. Kamienski et il perd ce dernier. Cette rondelle qui est prise finalement par Peter Laviolette. Laviolette vers Bourbeau et la rondelle effleure son patin, elle va jusqu'au gardien. Plus loin, c'est dans le coin de la patinoire. Et là, c'est une sortie de zone. Quelle belle manœuvre réussie par Obutov. Et là, vers Bikov, un tir et c'est arrêté par Scott Young dans un premier temps. Glissement de la foule. Centre de la patinoire et Mellon a remis à Donatelli un tir. Et la rondelle touche Biankin dans derrière. Et il y aura une pénalité à l'équipe soviétique. Calgary 88 se poursuit dans un moment au réseau TVA. 17 minutes et 34 secondes à faire. Igor Stelnov est chassé pour 2 minutes.
Et Jacques, du côté des Soviétiques, on a considérablement rajeuni la défensive. Des joueurs qu'on avait été habitués de voir, comme Pervoukin.
D'ailleurs, c'est Biakin qui prend sa place au sein de l'équipe. Il y a Kravchuk maintenant.
Il y a également Bialetinov qui n'est plus là. Alors, on a rajeuni cette défensive.
Exact. Bialetinov qui avait Babinov à une époque également. Là, c'est attaque massive des Américains. 6-2 la marque, favorisant l'ours brun.
Qui est-tu de rouge vêtu ce soir?
Oui, bien sûr. Dans le coin de la patinoire et c'est repris par Baizarno, l'auteur d'un des deux buts des Américains. Là, c'est Lomakin qui rejette jusqu'à l'autre bout. Intervention de Terreri. 17 minutes encore à jouer. Dans le match, on sait qu'en match olympique et championnat du monde, pas de temps supplémentaire. Là, la rondelle est reprise par Fusco. Là, jusqu'à Leach à Fusco. Retour à Leach dans l'enclave. Un tir. Et la rondelle est libre. Reprise par McDonald qui bat. 6-3.
Un peu de nonchalance de la part des défenseurs soviétiques, Jacques. On va voir la passe de Leach qui a permis un lancer franc. Leach qui est un excellent passeur. Et sur le retour de lancer, les défenseurs soviétiques cherchaient la rondelle et on a laissé démarquer quelques Américains devant le filet et la rondelle est tombée sur le bâton d'un Américain.
Donc, l'écart est réduit à 3 buts. McDonald, son deuxième du match. Stelnoff renvoie au centre, c'est pris par Todd Ockerloon et à Norton plus loin. Et lui renvoie jusqu'en territoire soviétique où c'est pris par Craig Janney. La rondelle est retenue sous le poids.
Et Jacques, c'est ce qu'on appelle couvrir son homme.
Je pense que les Soviétiques ont commencé à jouer au football. C'est la tactique du plaqué qui a été... Alors, McDonald avec l'aide de Leach. Est-ce qu'on a la confirmation, Pierre?
Oui, Jacques, c'est fait maintenant. McDonald, donc, qui marque avec l'aide de Leach, qui connaît un bon match dans les circonstances. Et Young également, but marqué en avantage numérique, dis-je bien. Stelnoff était au banc des pénalités pour l'Union soviétique à 3 minutes 15 secondes.
16 minutes et 27 secondes à jouer en troisième période. Les tirs au but 24-21, c'est-à-dire que les Soviétiques n'ont pas tiré une fois sur les buts américains depuis le début de la troisième période. Corey Mellon est au centre et les arrières Norton et Greg Brown. Mellon perd la mise en jeu et là c'est Makarov qui fait perdre le bâton à Granato. Un tir rate la cage. Stelnoff remet à Larionov, bousculé. Là, c'est une rondelle qui est reprise par Norton. Norton vise Mellon. On l'a fait trébucher, mais la rondelle s'est rendue jusqu'à Milnikov. Contre-attaque de Larionov à Makarov. Passe interceptée. À 2 contre 1, là, c'est Stevens. Et on a jugé que Bourbeau avait trop hâte de passer la ligne bleue. Il a devancé de quelques centimètres. Calgary 88 se poursuit dans un moment au réseau TVA.
Eh bien, Jacques, demain, on sera de retour, nous, ici, avec un match entre le Canada et la Finlande. Dans l'autre division, la division qui ressemble beaucoup à celle de la division Adams, c'est-à-dire une division à caractère défensif. Il y a deux divisions complètement différentes. Du côté du Canada, les pointages sont toujours peu élevés. Du côté de l'URSS, parce que c'est eux qui dominent, eh bien, les pointages sont toujours élevés. Alors, ça va être intéressant dans la ronde des médailles de voir ces deux divisions s'affronter.
Dans les autres matchs demain, France contre la Pologne et Suisse contre la Suède. Là, en zone adverse, et au dernier moment, le Soviétique n'a pu déposer le disque derrière parce que la cage était complètement ouverte. Contre-attaque avec le patin. Une passe qui va jusque sur le bâton de Yashin plus loin, qui rejette jusqu'au centre. C'est repris par Leach. La marque est 6-3 en faveur des Soviétiques. On demande des changements du côté des Américains et ça sera refusé aux États-Unis qui reprendront le jeu dans leur territoire avec 14,59 à jouer en troisième.
Et si on parle d'attaque, Jacques, les Soviétiques, même si ce match n'est pas encore terminé, avec 19 buts depuis le début du tournoi, eh bien, dominent en attaque, tandis qu'en défensive, les deux meilleures équipes, le Canada et la Pologne, qui ont permis seulement que 2 buts en 3 lors de leur match. Alors, les deux meilleures équipes défensives dans la division du Canada, la meilleure équipe en attaque et la deuxième meilleure équipe en attaque, la Tchécoslovaquie, avec 18 buts dans l'autre division.
Les États-Unis qui avaient battu l'Autriche 10-6 et avaient perdu 7-5 devant la Tchécoslovaquie. La Violette qui remet derrière à Fusco. Fusco jusqu'à Leach, il perd et c'est repris à l'intérieur de la zone américaine par Valéry Kamienski. Kamienski, selon les informations que l'on a, alors qu'on le voit à l'écran, le numéro 13, et ce genre de joueur qui sert beaucoup plus Kamienski qu'autres joueurs. Il n'est pas tellement apprécié des autres joueurs de son équipe.
Oui, Jacques, Anatoly Tarasov avait fait des critiques à son égard, mais il y a une chose sur Kamienski, c'est qu'on dit qu'en Amérique du Nord, il joue toujours bien.
Voilà. Dans les gros matchs, il est fort. Alors c'est pour ça qu'on lui fait faire le voyage. La foule qui scande USA, on veut de l'action, alors que l'écart est 3 buts contre les Soviétiques, c'est toute une tâche. Fusco se pointe dans son adverse, dans l'enclave. Fusco, un tir haut.
C'est 6-4, Jacques. On va revoir Fusco qui manie bien en zone offensive, se place en fonction d'un lancer du poignet. Le défenseur soviétique Fetisov l'a attaqué à la ligne bleue, mais s'est mis hors d'équilibre et ça permet à Fusco de récupérer une rondelle qui est devenue libre et un bon lancer du poignet dans la partie supérieure.
Fusco et Mellon étaient là en 1984 à Sarajevo. Ce sont les deux seuls joueurs. Et on sait que les Soviétiques et les Américains ne se sont pas affrontés lors du tournoi olympique de 1984. Là, oui.
Et Jacques, dans le cas de Milnikov, c'est un lancer que normalement un gardien de but devrait arrêter tout de même. Seulement 22 lancés de la part des Américains, 4 buts alloués par Milnikov. On comprend pourquoi les Soviétiques disent qu'ils n'ont plus de trétiac.
Le long de la rampe, et c'est une rondelle qui est reprise par Gianni. Veut rejoindre l'enclave, et la passe va jusqu'à Norton. Son tir va par-dessus la cage, et les Soviétiques débordés sont obligés de dégager, ce qui leur arrive que très rarement. Calgary 88 se poursuit dans un moment. Au réserve.
Score of 6-4. Teams are skating at equal strength, and the Corey Millen line is out there right now with Gosselin keeping it in from the point. Now Makarov takes the puck for the Soviets. Skates in over the blue line. He leaves it for Krutov, and Makarov's shot hits the post and goes up into the seats.
Well, a costly 2-on-1 there, but fortunately the puck hit the post and went into the crowd.
Let's go back to the third U.S. goal.
Ryan Leach making the pass. You can see the rebound come right onto McDonald's stick and finds the open side. That made it 6-3. And here's the goal that brings the U.S. to within 2. Scott Fusco with the puck. It just meets Milnikov with a high shot. The U.S. the second period ended with the U.S. team in disarray. And right now, all of a sudden, the feeling is starting to come back. You can sense the energy in the crowd.
And the USA chant with 13 minutes remaining in the game. Soviets on top 6-4. Their number one line, Larionov. Beautiful pass, but offside. Makarov in over the blue line ahead of the puck with 12:47 remaining in the game. And Dave Peterson's team now down 6-4. Play resuming, the United States and the Soviet end. Donatelli centered it. Nobody was out in front. Now slapped in by Laviolette. Broken up by Humutov. Fetisov now for the Soviets, the team captain. Sends it into the United States end where Scott Young picks the puck up for Team USA. Peter Laviolette picked up as he comes into the Soviet end. Steve Leach trying to scrap in the corner to pry it loose with Laviolette. And it comes out toward the point where Kamensky sends it out to center ice. Fetisov loses the puck. Steve Leach, his shot high. And Wyckoff clears it out.
What I want to see is the Soviet team put under real pressure for any length of time. This team is a beatable team. It is a destructible team, but only if they get put under pressure, only if they keep getting frustrated.
Scott Fusco lost his stick as Brown comes back in for the United States. He gets picked up at the blue line, shoots very wide, and the Soviets clear it. Wyckoff in ahead, drop pass, and Terreri makes the save and has to cover up as the puck came loose momentarily off the shot by Svetlov. 11:09 to play in the game.
In the next couple of minutes, the U.S. team can get a goal, and you just put some doubt in the Soviet players' eyes. They had the big lead, and all of a sudden, what they had already chalked up on the scoreboard becomes something in question. Then it becomes a game.
6-4 the score. What do you think, Mike Aruzio?
Well, Kenny Dryden, if you're Dave Peterson, do you go to 3 lines and 4 defensemen right now?
Yes, I think I would, Mike. At this time of the game, 11 minutes or so to go, you got to go with your best.
Craig Janney in with Kevin Miller. Miller sends it back out to the blue line, kept in by Gosselin. His shot wide, and then Okerlund is there, puts it in! Todd Okerlund scoring, and there's bedlam at the Saddle Dome now.
Well, that was just straight effort by Todd Okerlund. It looked as if the puck was covered in the crease. You can see the shot, it misses the net, then comes back out. Now everything looks under control, but the puck was loose. The referee saw that it was loose, did not blow his whistle quite properly, and now it is a 1-goal game.
Todd Okerlund, the son of the famed wrestling announcer Mean Gene Okerlund, a man who did not dress for the first 2 games. In fact, a lot of people thought he might be one of the cuts coming into the Olympics, but he survived. He dresses tonight for the first time. He makes the score 6-5 with 10:52 to play in the game. So the U.S. team, down by 4 going into the period, is now down by 1.
The U.S. team is just starting to believe, and the Soviet team is just starting to doubt.
Corbeau can't keep it in. And they scrap for it on the near side. The USA chant enveloping the Saddle Dome. Makarov with the puck for the Soviets. To Larionov. Their KLM line, the #1 line, is out there now. Makarov centers it. It comes out to Biakin. He goes to the corner. He's taken out of the play by Granato. And then Young goes down. The crowd wanted a penalty, and they don't get that call. Krutov. It's Leach who intercepts in front. And Bryan comes back up ahead to Granato. Biakin tries to clear it out. It's kept in at the point. Line change for the American team now. As Krutov starts back the other way. Snuggerud is out there along with Stevens for the U.S. and Snuggerud intercepts for the moment. Now sent back out to center ice. Stevens gets it ahead to Snuggerud. His shot is wide.
Well, the game is it's starting to lose control. And this is it going in the U.S. favor at the moment.
Stevens, the Soviet defenseman, Kasatonov, lost his stick just for the moment. He picks it back up. Snuggerud. Knocked down by Brown. Kept in. Out in front and in the slot. No Soviet was there, and it's flipped up into the seats by Snuggerud. 9:10 remaining in the game, 6-5. Under 9 minutes to play. The Soviets on top 6-5 after going into the third period leading 6-2. Kamensky wheeling in the corner. And Terreri sweeps to the side. Picked up by Steve Leach. Kamensky intercepts at center ice. To Humotov. Knocked away in front. Loose puck in front. And picked up by McDonald. McDonald, who scored the team's first goal, sends it into the Soviet end.
But I've been waiting for all game is for the U.S. team to put on enough pressure so that the Soviet team can start to self-destruct. But just as they would get them into that state, they give up an easy goal. If they can just get them in that state now, they can help them beat themselves. They need They need both right now, their effort, and they need the Soviets to start shooting themselves in the foot.
Brian Leach to Janney. Now Gosselin from the point. Slap shot goes skittering through the crease. Linden Miller fighting for it along the boards with Makarov. The puck is still loose. Now it comes out to Brian Leach. His shot, Janney is there, can't get the rebound. Shot back in by Leach. I think it hit the post. It hit the post. Makarov able to get it over to Larionov. And they take the pressure off for the moment. Now Gosselin shooting it in. Saved by Milnikov.
Very confident Milnikov is not looking that confident at the moment, nor is the rest of that Soviet team.
You hear the chant with 7:12 remaining. Millen skating in, leaves it for Granado. Slap shot save. Milnikov with two big saves in the last 45 seconds.
This Soviet team has had a lot of problems in the last year. They lost in the Izvestia tournament, they lost in the World Championships, they lost in the Canada Cup. They are starting to get the feeling that they can be beaten, and they're starting to think about that right now. There you can see the shot. I think it probably tipped off Janney and off the goalpost.
7:05 remaining in the third period. The Soviets on top 6-5. Team has just taken a timeout, 7:05 to play. There's no provision for overtime in international hockey. A tie is a tie, so that much time left in the game.
Very interesting that of late the Soviet team has gone from 4 lines to 3 lines, and it's something they very rarely do. They like to keep their whole roster going, and obviously they're sensing a weakness there. They're sensing the U.S. team coming on. The U.S. team is still going with 4 lines. I guess Coach Dave Peterson feeling that what he needs more than anything else now is the energy from everybody, and that what he doesn't want is fatigue to set in. I would suspect, however, that as the clock goes down to about 5 minutes or 4 minutes, he may go down to 3 lines.
Snuggerud, Donatelli, and Stevens forming this line. Most of the last 10 minutes have been played in the Soviet end. Snuggerud shoots, and another pad save, and out it comes to center ice. Milnikov, 3 big saves now in a 60-second span. Svetlov comes in over the blue line. His pass behind Yashin. Taken away by Snuggerud. He comes back with Donatelli on the right wing. Line change to the U.S. now. And an icing call.
Well, Al, another good example of how in any game, in any sport, any team can be beaten. The team that is confident, composed, arrogant, champions year after year, all of a sudden they can start to look ordinary, and unbelievably ordinary. And that's what's happening to the Soviet team right now. The poise, the composure, all of the things that they've done so well for so long are starting to be put into doubt.
6 minutes and 31 seconds remaining in the game. Scott Young for the United States. To Fusco. He sends it up ahead to Steve Leach. Steve Leach is out there with McDonald and Fusco on this line. Young and Laviolette are this defense pairing. And it's Kravchuk for the Soviet, who sends it into the U.S. end. Kamensky gets there, so there's no icing, as the Soviet player got there first. Now out ahead to center ice to Stelnov. .550 left in the game. Scott Young.
The game is just taking a bit of a breather now. Still plenty of time for the energy to come back.
Young up ahead to Miller, but he loses the puck. Here comes Fetisov reeling in, backhanding it through the crease. And Janney picks it up, but he can't control it. Krutov takes it away for the moment. Janney hounds him. Laviolette gets checked by Krutov, and it's sent up ahead to Miller. Fetisov up ahead to Makarov. Makarov sends it back out to Larionov, and he wheels it around the boards. Terreri is there. Up along the boards, rolling along the top of the board and underneath the glass, and back out to center ice to Fetisov. Makarov loose at the blue line, picked up by Norton. He has to wait for Janney to get onside. Then he dumps it into the corner. The Millen, Granato, and Bourbeau line is out there. Millen, slapper, knocked down in front. Bourbeau couldn't sweep it in, and it's cleared out to the blue line and beyond. And Krutov picked up by Norton. Beautiful play by Norton to take the puck away. Konstantinov gets it up ahead to Krutov. Krutov's shot is wide. 4:15 left in the game. Millen skating into the Granato. Backhander save. Granato has it. He tries to send it through the crease. Donatelli behind the net, strapping for it. Millen is there for control. Nobody in front. Now Leach knocked down in front. Lariano picks the puck up.
As you can see, the puck is just going everywhere. The game is out of control. And again, that is to the U.S. advantage.
3:46 left in the game. Soviets on top 6-5. Semyonov can't handle it. Brian Leach to Stevens, offside. Steve Leach was in ahead of the play. 3:34 to play. Mike Eruzione, your thoughts?
Well, Al, I'll tell you one thing. This is for sure what we talked about this team throughout the year. They play with great emotion. There's 3 minutes and 34 seconds left to go in the game. You can take all the ability that these athletes have and put them in the closet, because it now comes down to emotional game. And I like the way the U.S. is playing, and they're playing with that type of emotion.
3:34 left in the game. We'll have another face-off. Dave Peterson letting Ante Koskinen, the Finnish referee, know exactly how he feels.
Well, Dave Peterson wanted to get a late change, and the referee said it was just simply too late for the change to be made.
Still not for the Soviets. He can't clear it out. He is checked by Steve Leach. Kravchuk sends it up ahead. Too far and into the U.S. zone, and Young gets there and an icing call from their half of the ice over the opposing goal line. And that's the call, icing, sending it back to the face-off circle in front of the Soviet netminder, Milnikov, who, despite allowing 3 goals in this period, has made some tremendous saves.
Yes, he has. And it certainly is a roller coaster ride when you watch the U.S. hockey team play. There are very few dull moments. There are annoying moments, there are thrilling moments, and altogether there are compelling moments.
And a roller coaster ride for Peterson, able to smile with 3:09 to play, and the U.S. dominating the third period in shots on goal and in the scoring as well. It was 6-2, remember, at the end of the second period. 3:06 remaining in the game.
Just about every time that the Millen, Granato, and Bourbeau line has been out there, they have caused the Soviets real trouble. They are out there again.
Bourbeau sends it up to center ice. Stelnov shoots it back in. Norton is out there on defense with Brown. Bourbeau, Millen, and Granato form the U.S. line. Sent into the Soviet end. Cleared along the boards, back out to center ice where Brian Leach takes it, and Leach shoots it into the Soviet end before Millen had vacated the zone. So Corey's offside, and the clock stops with 2:33.
Coach Viktor Tikhonov has had this sort of thing happen to him an awful lot in the last year, and he's somebody who is not a very good bench coach. He's a good practice coach, but he's been around long enough that he seems a little bit tired and he seems a little bit slow. Right in back of him, very interestingly enough, is the head of the Soviet Hockey Federation, Koloskov, Now, you would not have seen a second man, a non-coach in that area about a year ago. Koleskov has started to take over.
And as far as strategy is concerned, Dave Peterson has to keep his eye on the clock too, because he has to think about pulling Terreri and getting the extra skater up front for the U.S. That much time left, 2:12. Makarov has it for the Soviets. He skates in with Leach on defense. The drop pass for Krutov. Circling to Fetisov, skating all the way in, and he scores! Vyacheslav Fetisov. Straight in, backhands it in, and the Soviets lead it 7-5.
It's what the Soviet team does so well. They attack well, but they attack with depth. They bring up their players from behind, and unless the defending team is very aware, they're going to leave people wide open. And this is their leader. This is their captain, Fetisov, making the big play of the game.
And with 2:01 to play, the Soviets are on top by a score of 7-5. A score the U.S. team knows all too well. That was the final 2 nights ago against Czechoslovakia. And a stoppage of play here with 1:51 remaining in the game.
Here you can see it again. The U.S. team is back in numbers, but look, coming from the rear is Fetisov. And the U.S. forward should have been picking him up. Should have been back into the zone on defense. Instead, he let him go, and now it's 7-5. The Soviets, you can never let up. They always find a way of going on offense. They involve all 5 people on the offensive attack.
And the U.S. team, as was the case so often during their pre-Olympic tournament, playing a high-scoring game. It's been the case in all 3 games in the Olympics, winning 10-6, losing 7-5, and now trailing 7-5 as well.
Well, it's in the way it's set up. Here you can see Dave Peterson.
Let's go. Let's go. Look at them move.
Goaltender Chris Terreri.
Hey, lock people up. Don't be afraid of taking penalties. Why don't we give a show?
Marty, as soon as you can, get to the crease. Well, I think basically the words there of Dave Peterson are the philosophy of the team. It's what have we got to lose? At this moment, and basically at any moment during the game, that's the approach they take to the game.
And the U.S. will now go with 6 skaters up front. Terreri will remain on the bench with the face-off in the Soviet end. Down by 2, 1:51 to play. And it's shot in by Miller and cleared out. Brown keeps it in at the point. Stevens knocks it down with his skate. And Norton then has it taken away, and it's cleared out by Buikov for the Soviets. So the U.S. net is empty. Terreri is on the bench, the extra skater up front, and a 2-line offside pass here to stop the clock at 1:29.
Basically, that line was out there, I think, just to give the Millen line a little bit of a rest. Now, Millen, Granato, and Bourbeau are coming out onto the ice, as is Terreri for a moment. But as soon as that puck starts to move towards the Soviet blue line, Terreri will be off the ice to the extra forwards.
Soviets led 2-0 early on. Then it was 2-1. It was 3-1 in the second period when Bourbeau scored at the 11:40 mark to make it 3-2. And then the Soviets scored 3 consecutive goals to end the second period on top 6-2. The U.S. team came back to within 1, but Fetisov's goal has made it 7-5. The American team down by 2. Terreri is back on the bench. The extra skater up front, and it's cleared the length of the ice by the Soviets as Young goes back to get it. 1:10 to play.
The U.S. team just needs to get into the Soviet zone as fast as they can, and then just try to create chaos.
Lane McDonald and Fetisov battling for it. Young slaps it in. Fetisov knocks it down in front. Comes out toward the blue line. Brian Leach. Young kept it in for the moment. Now it comes back to center ice. 48 seconds. Granado had to wait for Bourbeau to get onside. Now Bourbeau starts in. And poke checked away and sent down into the U.S. end. And we'll have an icing call here. And a face-off with 32 seconds to play in the game.
Well, again, the U.S. Now they've got the puck in the Soviet zone. They'll have 6 attackers out there, and they will just try to go to the front of the net, looking to screen the goalkeeper, deflecting a shot, getting a rebound, trying to do something in the next few seconds that will again rattle the Soviets enough to give them another chance later on.
The U.S. still with 2 games left in this round, still with a chance to make it to the medal round. If the U.S. defeats Norway on Friday and the Soviets beat the West Germans on Friday, it'll be the U.S. against West Germany on Sunday in a game that could determine the 3rd team to advance, assuming Czechoslovakia is the 2nd. Right now, the Czechoslovaks have a mark of 2-1. So it's complicated, but the U.S. is still alive, and it could very well come down to a goal differential situation where the U.S. might have to win the West German game by, let's say, 2 goals. Anyway, it's complicated and extended, and as we get closer to it, we can explain it to you. But the fact of the matter is the United States team is still alive in terms of advancing to the medal round.
There's a little bit of a problem there, and it went between the Soviet player Byakin and the U.S. player Norton. They're exchanging little slashes with a stick, and Byakin went down.
And Antti Koskinen, the referee for Finland, who has drawn the ire of Dave Peterson tonight, attempts to get it sorted out.
I think that what Dave Peterson is saying, you watch on the right side of your screen with this little exchange here. Down goes the Soviet player, but what happened during that exchange, Fetisov, the Soviet captain who was on the bench, came out to argue but then stayed on the ice. Dave Peterson's argument is that the change had already been made and Fetisov should be back on the bench.
U.S. team with the extra skater. Millen on the faceoff, gets it back to Young, and his slap shot is kicked aside. Makarov gets it up ahead to center ice, and Young collects it with 24 seconds. Snuggerud to Fusco, drop past Granado, and another save. And the puck winds up going into the net, but there will be no goal. No goal because Koskinen had blown the whistle. No goal.
I'd like to see that again, but I do think that, in fact, the goalkeeper Milnikov had possession of the puck, had it under control. The referee had blown his whistle, and it was simply with the U.S. team charging the net that the puck got dislodged. We can see the shot from Granado. Milnikov has it. He's in control. And it presumably came out of that exchange there between Norton and Milnikov. You can see Milnikov in good control. He knocks Milnikov, or Norton knocks Milnikov back into the net. The puck goes loose.
Pro-U.S. crowd chanting something you'd only hear on Howard Stern show tomorrow. He can't tell you about it. 16 seconds remaining in the game. 7-5. The Soviets on top.
Here you can see it again. Now Milnikov, with the slow action, it's very hard to tell exactly how long Milnikov had the puck, but you could see that he was in clear possession of it. But that's the sort of play that the U.S. team needs to make under those circumstances. You go right to the net, right to the goalie. Now that I'm a retired goalie, I can say that very easily. But at the same time, that's exactly what you need to do.
And you heard Peterson say, well, they got to cheat to win. It's frustrating for Peterson, for the team, the U.S., with a couple of comebacks tonight, but they're going to come up short. and go into action on Friday with a record of 1-2. Milnikov makes the save, and I suppose that's appropriate because he kept them in the third period, and the game ends with a scuffle, and that would be predictable.
The game is played with such high emotion. And the U.S. team, after coming back, came so frustratingly close that they just kind of lost it there a bit at the end. I think what's happening at the moment is that the Soviet players are largely trying to stay away. They realize that a fight under these circumstances can not only, even though the game is over, it can result in suspensions from games that are coming up, and a very heavy price to pay in such a short tournament like the Olympics.
A lot of wet fish handshakes in this line. But now that things have calmed down, the two teams, as is customary at the Olympics, congratulate each other. Dave Peterson has watched his team fight back all night long, twice close to within a goal, but come up short. Again, the final is 7-5, as was the case on Monday night against Czechoslovakia. Thus, the standings now, each team to play 5 games in Group B in the preliminary round. The Soviets and West Germans are 3-0, and Czechoslovakia, having been upset by West Germany, is 2-1. The U.S. is currently 4th. Austria and Norway would be out of it. Now, the United States will play Norway on Friday night. They'd be 2-2. If the Soviets were to beat West Germany would then be 3-1. And assuming Czechoslovakia would go on to finish with either a mark of 4-1 or 3-2, and they got in, the United States would play West Germany on Sunday night, still with a chance to wind up in what would be a 3-way tie with Czechoslovakia and West Germany. And as I say, it gets very complicated. It might come down to goal differential, but the fact of the matter is the U.S. still has medal round hopes.